Hi, welcome back. Something a bit different for me. I'm going to have a go at doing a little 1/72 scale model. I'm going to try and do it as a one video build on this, so you're going to get some speeded up footage on it. Just a bit of fun really. So I feel like some of the things I do kind of probably alienate some modelling people, because I don't want to get involved in too complicated techniques and adding metal parts and all sorts of stuff. So this is going to be built straight out of the box. I might thin things down a little bit, but I'm not going to add anything to it at all. So let's see how it goes. Okay, that's the airframe done basically. There's not much to it. It's quite nice building a kit this size because it's so quick. It's quite very, very relaxing to build as this one. As I mentioned earlier, the fit of the parts are very, very good. The only issue I had was the joining the fuselage halves together, but it's just not a big deal. What I have noticed though, if I put the undercarriage, I was like this on the fence about having it in flight and putting a rod at the back end here to have it as an in-flight model, but I'm just going to do it undercarriage down because it's quite easy to do on this one, and I'll have the cockpit open because the canopy is very good. So what I'm going to do, I need to put some nose weight in it, because if you look where the rear legs are, if you kind of look at the centre of gravity, it's very tail heavy. Even with the canopy on, I don't think there'll be enough weight in the nose. So what I'm going to do now, I've got some old air rifle pellets. I use these for mixing, putting in paint tins and shaking them up. I'm going to chop a few of those up and shove them in the nose and hope that's enough weight to do it. Do that now. Okay, I've got the weight in the nose now, so I don't think it rattles. I put a bit of white glue in the front there just to stop it rattling. It still does a bit, I'm not bothered. What I need to do now is sand it all up and clean all the seam lines up and make sure it's all as smooth as possible. I need to mask off the canopy, the cockpit area. You may have noticed I haven't put the seats in. There's no point putting them in yet because they're just getting in the way and they'll get dusty, and it makes it more difficult to mask, and they can be fitted afterwards. So I'm just going to mask off in that area first, just to keep the dust out of it. Not that it matters too much because I could probably paint bits of it afterwards, but it's not a problem. I've just painted it black. I've looked at Provost and they tend to be black inside there anyway. I'm thinking of putting the pilots in just for a bit of fun, so it'll be interesting trying to paint the pilots. I might not do that yet, we'll see. So mask that off, clean up all the seam lines, and then it's going to need a coat of primer to just see where we are with the how good the fit of the parts are and the gaps and things like that. Okay, it's had basically a coat of this stuff, which is, I find it's really, really good stuff. Unfortunately, I've none left. So anyway, it's had a coat of that, and I've sanded everywhere that had little imperfections on it and stuff. and I've filled all the little gaps and stuff that I think are necessary to be filled. I use UV resin for small, well, you can use it for big gaps actually, but I use it for gaps because it dries instantly when you cure it with a light, curing light. So I filled all the gaps anyway, and it's now got exposed plastic again, so it needs another coat of primer just to see if we're on the right track. So what I'm going to use instead, I'm going to try this Vallejo primer, which is grey. So I'll give it a coat of the grey, see how it looks, and if that works out okay, I'm going to give it a coat of white, because predominantly a lot of this plane is white, and white's a really good base for painting red on it, and if I find it is anyway. So let's give that a go first to the grey. Hi, welcome back. Okay, I'm just I give it a coat of this stuff. Okay, you may notice there's not much of it left on there because it's let me do a mini review on it, just a minute. See, this is my bin, right? That's that stuff. Right, onward. We shall buy some more primer and start again. Okay, a coat of white Halford's primer, car spray basically. Works quite well. I'm giving it a bit of a sand again. Now then, paint scheme wise, I've got to rethink about this. I was going to do that one, but looking at this is only a small aircraft, very small for a model, and to paint this stripe here would be quite difficult, I think. It's not clear where the masking line goes down there. It's not very clear around the wing either. So as much as I could find that out and research and stuff, I don't see why I should bother, because I quite like this scheme as well. Now this is, it says aluminium, but I'm guessing that's going to be speed silver, which is standard RF silver of the day, with red on it. So I quite like that, and I like the little 58 on the front of the nose, and yeah, I quite like it. Okay, masking this front nose here is going to be tricky, but I'll sort that out. So really the first thing I need to do with this is just spray that silver, which makes my life so much easier. So let's do that. Okay, I'm just painting the canopy at the moment because I've got some paint drying on the fuselage, so I can't really work on that at the minute. So what I'm doing to mask this off, I mean, if you were, the frames are quite good, but they're not, because it's a small canopy obviously, the frame definition, the lines if you like, are quite beveled, I suppose. Now what I would do on a bigger kit, I'd be quite comfortable to cut that with a blade, but in this case I'm not, because as I say, the frame lines aren't sharp enough to do that. I'm not saying the canopy is bad, because it's very, very good on this kit. I just don't feel confident to go at it with a blade. So what I'm doing is putting the tape on, and then I'm going to take the tape off and cut it out and then put it back on as a mask. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, that's the canopies painted. Quite not too bad to do really. All black on the inside and silver on the outside. There's decals to go on that canopy. That's going to be a giggle, isn't it? Welcome back. Things have changed a bit since the last little bit. I was doing this colour scheme. Now, to me, don't trust the Airfix colours on the printed sheet, because that looks the same colour to me as that, but it's not. It's orange, and I printed it red, didn't I? So, rookie mistake, you know, just check the colours are correct. So I looked at models of this real aircraft, and it's definitely very orange. So I can't have it orange, because red, it looks silly, because it's not accurate, is it? As much as I don't mind it being a little bit off, but so I thought, oh, I'll paint it orange, and it didn't work out. I didn't like doing it, so I've decided to just go back to this colour scheme. So I spent a considerable amount of time stripping all of the paint off this. Every single bit of paint come off it, back to the plastic. Scrubbed it in IPA and blah blah blah, and then I give it another coat of primer. And I've painted the white top, and now I've masked off the white top. Now, this colour scheme only looks right to me if you get this line here correct, or get it as good as you can anyway. So what I did, I cut a very thin piece of masking tape. I went right round the model in one piece, so I've got a nice curve at the front here. I'm hoping it'll come off alright. And I've masked off the white bit as best I can. I'm a bit paranoid about getting the overspray on the white because it's very, very difficult to touch up again. So the next bit is to paint this bottom part red. Okay, a moment of truth. Start taking the masking tape off. There's quite a lot of masking tape on here. As I say, I needed it to be good. So I spent quite a long time masking this. As I say, what I did with this is I put a piece of tape right round it. Which starts here. Now we take that off. I reckon that is the result. Happy with that. Okay, that's the lacquer on there. I'm really pleased with that. It's gone very, very well. When you didn't see the pictures of this thing after I stripped it all down, it looked like a right mess. But it's all cleaned up now and it's good. So I need to leave that alone now for. I know it's lacquer paint and it does dry pretty quickly, but I will need to touch it quite a lot to get the tape on and the masking on, so you can't rush this bit. Masking the wings and the tail and stuff, that'll take a bit of doing as well. I mean, they're quite intricate little bits of masking, especially around the tail, because the wings are grey with red bits on and blah blah blah, and especially the tail here. But yeah, I need to get that nose first. I want to get that nose bit done. It's not an easy bit to do it that at all. It might look easy, but it's not. So yeah, leave that alone for 24 hours, I think. Okay, masked off the black. Moment of truth on the black stuff. So there we go. Yeah. Well, what do we think to that? Tiny little bit of black there. It's subtle. I can probably fix that. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with that. It's really difficult to do with this because it's so small. I'm not used to building models this little. But yeah, I'm happy with that. That's alright. Well, there we go, I've lacquered it as usual, obviously. That's my style. It's not going to stay glossy in the black part. Let's just, to make that go flat, I'll sand it with a very, very fine sanding pad. And it gives a lovely flat sort of surface to it. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. It's that's exactly what I want. I just touched it up a tiny little bit with a brush, the white. I'll just see if I can get as close as I can with it. That's as close as I can get with the camera. So yeah, it's focusing properly. There we go. Yeah, I'm really happy with that result and a half, is that. Okay, spent a considerable amount of time masking to do the grey wings. Part of the tail is grey, the elevators are grey, and the bottom of the tailplane is grey with a little red flash underneath, and then a lot of red on the front. So I've got quite a lot of masking still to go. It's amazing how long it takes to mask something like this. I'm really quite. I don't often mask this much. Because you've got to be so careful not to get any overspray on the white in this case. So anyway, ready to paint the grey. Okay, that went quite well. Masking's done for the grey. I still need to mask off the final bit of red for the tail. I can't do that until this grey's dried better. I did have a little issue with masking tape. This is Tamiya masking tape, which is very good, but it's not cheap, is it? Tamiya masking tape. And this is just stuff you get from a DIY shop. And this is stickier than that. And I caught it. I used it because I use it because it's cheaper. And it just pulled a bit of the paint at the nose there, where I'd masked it off. It's not a disaster. I've just sanded it and feathered it off, and I need to give this another coat of lacquer at the moment just to seal everything in. And I'll lacquer that, and then I'll sand that, and then I'll spray some red on top of it, and then lacquer on top. It'll be fine. So yeah, it's coming on. I just need to do the tail, and then that's all the painting bits done. Okay, this thing's all painted up now, finally. Can't believe how much time taken to paint. So much masking involved. It's not complicated masking, it's just intricate, if you like. It's a difference, I suppose. You've got to be so careful getting just getting in within the lines, I suppose. But yeah, it's all done now, apart from the jet pipe at the back. I don't want to do that yet because I want to do it last, because it's not going to be glossy, obviously. And it's going to get deckled first, then a coat of lacquer or two, and then I'll do the jet pipe, and then I'll polish it all up. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's start decaling. So should be fun. Okay, all the decals are on. It took me 4 hours, believe it or not, to do all the decals on this model, and some of them are still aren't on. There's a few to go on the bottom of the undercarriage legs, which obviously aren't on yet. I couldn't put the decals on the bottom of the wing because I just damaged those when I painted it, the other colour scheme, and then repainted the whole model. So they're missing. Can't put those on. I can get some more from Airfix though. As I say, I need to get a new one for the instrument panel as well. I'm not too fussed about that, to be fair, because it's my model and only I'm going to see it. I don't think you can see a right lot of it when the canopy's on and that, but I can get one. I'll probably get as I say, I need to get the whole decal sheet anyway, so Randall's will go on when that's done, but I can add those at any time. So what I'm doing now, as you can see, it's been varnished. It's very, very shiny. It's too shiny really, but it's had a lot of coats of lacquer on there, and the reason for that is I wanted to demonstrate how I think you could do as an alternative to how people seem to paint model aeroplanes, is to paint them how I used to do model cars. This is a standard thing you'd do with painting a glossy model car. You varnish it and then polish it up. Again, it doesn't suit every model, but you can achieve both a matte finish and a satin finish and a gloss finish with it by cutting it back. Now that's been cut back. I probably can't show it on video, but that's a, I would say, a pleasant matte, borderline semi satin finish, if you like. But the bonus of all this process is the perfect finish is it's smooth. There's no blemishes in that paint at all. Now I've seen so many models, people paint them straight out the airbrush, finish them off, and you look at them close up and there's grain all over them. They're covered in dappley, grainy bits, either from the airbrushing or from the plastic itself. This removes all that because you end up with a perfect paint finish. It's a lot of work. I'm not saying it by any means it's difficult. It's difficult, not difficult, it's just time consuming. And what I do and also I find the only way to do it is to use lacquer paint. Well, you can do it with standard acrylic varnishes, but the problem is you have to let them dry for so long, and even then you can end up with a fingerprint in it. If you leave it for this has been left 24 hours, and it's perfectly alright for cutting back and polishing. With an acrylic varnish, you'd have to leave it a week, depending on temperature as well. So this stuff allows this technique easier, considerably easier. That's flat white. You wouldn't do it with that. I haven't got any lacquer varnish, it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you're going to use lacquer varnish, this stuff is fabulous, and it dries like, you can polish it out to look like an absolute mirror if you want to. Now you might notice this front black piece here is shiny at the moment. It doesn't want to be like that. So this is something you can achieve with any. This is sanding pad that's very worn. So, and you've got to be careful not to go through it as well, obviously. It depends how many coats of lacquer you put on it, and any bumpy bits that stick up you could end up taking the top off them. But I like this way of making a matte finish just by sanding the top of it. And you don't use any water on it, by the way, because if you did that you'll cut it faster and you will go through it. It's amazing how much a bit of lubricant water creates, and then you don't want that, not at this stage anyway. Now if you're trying to achieve a matte finish with a gloss varnish, you can end up with wherever there's a panel line you'll get a shiny bit showing through. I don't mind that actually in this case, because you can get it out if you just carefully sand into the line, which I think I've managed to do there. But yeah, you could lacquer a whole model of gloss and then just sand it and to get whatever finish you like. And it's a very durable finish as well. So I've done this side just about. So but it's baby skin soft is that. There's nothing on it, no marks or anything. And I love it. I think it's just the best way to do it. And this is what I'm doing as well. I haven't actually done a whole model. I have done part of a model like this before, but this is more of an experiment to see if I could do a whole one like this, because the next model I'm going to build using this technique is going to be a Tamiya 132nd Corsair. And I'm not going to do the usual thing that everybody does with Corsairs and weather the crap out of them so they'll just look like they've been through war, which obviously they were. But I'm going to do it as an airshow model. So it's modern and shiny, which they are, the glossy blue and shiny, and that's how I want mine to look. So that's the difference between the painted version and then the flatted off version. I hope this shows on camera, but you don't have to spend too much time doing this. You're not trying to, in ideal what you're trying to do is sand it enough until all the blemishes are gone. And you can see when they're gone because the shine disappears and all the little specks of dust and any orange peel you get from maybe painting and stuff. That's a whole new video, is that, on painting, because you don't want to be using your varnish too thick either. You can actually spray neat. When you've done a coat of varnish on it, you can spray neat thinner on it, you know, leveling thinner, and that kind of dries the whole, that slows the whole process down, and it ends up settling and then becoming very glossy. But I don't need to do that because I'm cutting it back anyway. That top deck there has been varnished, been cut back, and this side hasn't. So I'm just sanding that back in there. And also, when you've varnished over your decals, you just sand again until you can't tell where the decal begins and the paintwork starts, if you like. And the decals just disappear. They don't look like the decals anymore, they just look like paint. So that's the process we're doing. I'll do this side. I'll do it spaded up. Right, okay, that's pretty much sanded up enough to what I'm trying to achieve with this particular model anyway. The model card will be a bit different, but that's good enough for this. It took me about, I don't know, 20 minutes tops, if that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to polish it back up again. I know it sounds nuts because it looked quite shiny before, but it'll come up now with absolutely no marks in it at all. You won't be able to see anything. It'll just be like, I don't know, very smooth. Anyway, so when you buy these Tamiya polishing compounds, they come in different grades. That's the finished one, which is a much finer coarse. I don't know what that is. You get a fine and you get a coarse, which I've never run out of. I'm not going to use the coarse because it's not necessary on this, because it's not bad enough to do it. So I'm going to go with the fine, what's left of it. You don't need to write a lot. Just going to squeeze it up. You don't need to write a lot, and you can use a little bit of water with it if you want to. Tamiya sell these polishing pads. Anybody that's built cars, I'm sorry for going on about this because you'll know all about this. But you get these polishing pads that you can get into little nooks and crannies and stuff. That's a big one, obviously. And you can just wash these off and get a little tub of water as well if you need to. And a cloth and some tissues. Let's get some more tissues. So we'll start on the, I don't know, the bit that probably stands out the most on this model is these sides really. So I'll polish that area up there. I'm not going to do it all on video because it takes too long. So you just need a bit of, this is stuck out, so I don't want that. A bit of finish, then to squidge a bit on the cutting board there. And go for it. It does leave a milky, white dry residue when it's finished. You can just wipe it off. It's very slippy as well. It doesn't grab. It's like you're polishing at nothing. Well, you can make it as shiny or as semi-shiny as you want, really, depending on how far you want to go with this. And you can see it coming out when you're doing it. You just keep going about it. It really does look. I mean, the difference between the red and the white, totally seamless. You can't see any edges or anything. It's not clever. It's just patience, and it's just practice and knowing how to do it, knowing to do this, because I just don't know anybody that does with the model airplane, and I don't understand why. Not with glossy ones anyway. I'm sure with a World War II Spitfire maybe. But even then, I did do one actually and I messed it up, but I do think it's valid to varnish it up, cut it back, just to get a flat, uniform, nice finish on the model instead of a rough, plasticky, specky mess, which I see in a lot of models. And that's not the person's fault that's done that, it's just lack of knowledge, I guess, and knowing there's an alternative way. I'm not criticising that, because I've done it myself. And I only kind of fell upon this process, as I say, from watching videos about model cars, or doing model cars. So that's that. Probably enough actually. So, I don't know if you can see it, but it's not as glossy as it was when it was first done, because I don't want it to be. It was too shiny. That was too shiny. There's a difference between a matte surface and a glossy surface and a smooth surface, because matte and gloss is completely different, isn't it? But you can have a gloss surface that's smooth and a matte surface that's smooth. And I think that's where the misconception about having to have a gloss surface, i.e. paint it varnished to put decals on. It isn't the glossiness that matters, it's the smoothness of the surface. So you could have a perfectly matte surface and still achieve a perfectly fitted decal without any silvering, as long as it was smooth, in my opinion, based on doing it. I would never put a decal on a matte surface, I just don't see the point. So you're always going to lacquer over it anyway, well, generally speaking. I'll get this as shiny as I can just for the demonstration point of view. Let's zoom in a bit more. I know Jet Provost. Let's imagine it's rolled off a production line and it's immaculate, alright? That's how this one's going to look. Anybody new to the channel, you may notice I don't do weathering. I don't do panel lines, I don't do weathering, I don't do pre-shading. I do post-shading, there's a difference. Obviously, if the paint isn't dry, you can't do that. It's squeaky clean. Right, so there we go. I'm not going to do all of it on camera because it would take too long, but that's the sort of finish you get. I hope it shows on camera, but it's absolutely immaculate, beautiful, and that's how I think glossy models at least can be done. And as I said before, any model can be done like that, and I think you get a better finish from it. Quite addictive. You keep going at it forever and just keep polishing and polishing. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So I'll finish it all off and I'll show you the result. Okay, that's all. It's polished up as good as I want it to be. I don't want it any shinier than that. You could get it shinier. I'm not going to do. So I think it's about right for what the model is and things like that. I'm even going to leave the nose that kind of as it is. It might dull down a bit on its own if I could touch it a lot. But yeah, I'm happy with that. That's That's the look I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to fit the canopy now, so I'm just going to show how I do this. So I'm using glue and glaze, Model Shop Select, quite good stuff. It's basically like PVA really, but I think it's a little bit more grabby, a bit more tenacious. You don't need very much of it either, because this canopy fits really, really well. It almost clicks into place. You could get away with not actually doing this, but I guess it'll just keep popping off from it, so I'm just putting a bit on. It dries clear, but it does go right and dry shiny. So I'll bear that in mind. I've got that the wrong way around now. Alright, yeah, just I'm hoping that'll be enough. Okay, we're now at the stage where I want to fit the undercarriage, which is really cute actually. I'm really impressed with the undercarriage on this. It don't look much when it's not painted, but when it's you've painted it up and put a little decal on and everything. It's quite a nice little thing. So I'm going to put those on now. There's not much to it really. They're just fit in those sockets there like that. And dab a little tiny bit of super glue on there. Get them in there quick. That's it. Make sure I get them the right way around, because the other leg sticks to the front. They sit quite squat to these. They're like, I don't know, like a bulldog, you know, like a bulldog's legs. Try and get them straight. And then we've got the front one. Mostly don't commit to glue unless you know it fits. I might have made sure it did before I did this. There we go, that's the undercarriage on. Simple as that. Now we can get rid of that. And there's enough weight in the nose and it sits quite nice there. Zoom back out. So there we are, that's that done. Now all we need now is, I put the antenna on the top there, that needs painting brown. I couldn't do it while it was off the model because it was difficult to hold. So now I'm just going to fit I'm going to need to do the ejector seat. What I'm doing with these, I'm not going mad on the ejector seats. I like to detail things, but I find seats annoying. I don't like doing them. I don't like cockpits, I don't like detailing cockpits particularly. So I'm just adding a bit of interest to the seat by a bit of pencil lead onto the black. This is just semi-gloss black. I paint everything semi-gloss black. I'm going to put a bit of that on there. And the seat back is separate, which is quite nice. I've just done that like I think it's an ochre colour, and I've just put a little bit of this stuff on. It's Tamiya rust actually, a bit of, just to give it a bit of interest really. So that fits in. Whoops. In there like that. Like so, I just need to glue that in. I'll do that off camera. So this is the one I haven't done yet. So just put that on there. Just need a bit more. This is just adding a highlight to the edges. I'm not painting the little ripcord thing. I can't be bothered. They don't seem to show that much on the real ones. They don't like bright orange. If they are, I'll have a look on the picture. If they are, I'll paint them yellow and put black stripes on. But they're very small, and I'm not convinced it's a good plan at the minute. And this bit, I'll just put a bit of that on. I did it with a cut. With this thing last time, I think. Just to make it look a bit more less stark, I think. I did it with a brush. That's not really it. Good. Whew, carpet monster got that. A bit of white. If I was going to do this not out of the box, I'd probably cut the seat belts off and put real ones in. Well, not real ones, you know what I mean, but some sort of taped versions of seat belts. That's the seat really, and I'm going to put those in there. I'm going to hold them in blue tack because I want to be able to take them out because I want to put in an instrument panel that I lost last time. So what else have I got to fit on? I've got the bottom, what the heck have I done with it? There's a little antenna goes, oh, it's on here, it's still on the sprue actually. There's an antenna goes on the bottom, just there, which I couldn't put on before the undercarriage was on. And then the canopy, which we have now deckled up. It's got all the decals in it, little lines around it, and there's a little kind of little decal just there, and that'll sit just there. I definitely will not be gluing that on. So it does sit quite happily sat there like that. So I'm going to get it all finished up. I'm going to take some still pictures and I'll present it to the world. So back in a bit. Okay, there we are, it's done. Finally finished it. It's taken about, I don't know how long it's taken. Can't remember. It's seemed quite a while for a model of this size. I didn't expect it to take quite as long, but the masking process did take a lot of work. I've thoroughly enjoyed building this. I really have. I mean, I've said before on this channel that I don't really like building small models, but this has really changed my opinion. I've enjoyed it a lot. I think you're going to see a lot more models like this on here. Cat hair there. I can't fault it. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with this kit at all. It's just a delight to build. I recommend anybody do one. I haven't mentioned earlier in the video, if any that's just jumped in to have a look at this. The decals on the bottom are missing because I damaged them when I was going to use the other paint scheme, and so I have to get some more from Airfix, or I'll pick some up off another kit or something at some point and just bob them on there. I'm not too concerned because most of the time models just sit on the base like that. You don't look underneath that much. Certainly in my case, I probably will put it on a base and leave it there. I need to put a decal in on the air control panel, but I'm not that bothered because you can't see much in there anyway. And again, I don't. It's sat on my shelf, isn't it? That's my mistake. I made a mistake with that by getting the colour wrong in the first place and doing it red instead of orange, but I digress. It's finished and I'm really happy with it. I really enjoy building it. I've just scuffed a bit of silver paint off the tail there. I need to touch that up. But yeah, it's a nice model. I recommend it to anybody. It's easy to build. I'm not going to say it's easy to paint though, because it does take a lot of time to do all the masking, and the masking's a challenge. It's not a challenge, it's just time consuming, you know, and because it's such a small model, you've got to be very careful with it. But I'm really happy with the how it's turned out. There's no fuzzy buzzy edges on the masking tape edges, and I think I've nailed the nose. I'm not convinced it's the right shape on the tape, but I think it looks nice. The seats are great. I wish Airfix sold these seats as a separate item that you could put in older kits, because they're great ejector seats. I haven't gone mad on those and overemphasised them. As I say, it's out of the box. I haven't added anything to this kit at all, which is not like me at all. And I haven't thinned anything down. I haven't altered anything. All I've done is build it, sand it, paint it. That's it. And yeah, there you go. So when the weather, I can't do it now because the weather outside's pretty poor actually, and I like to do them outside on a pleasant day. So once that, if I can get some decent light from somewhere, I'll throw up some still photographs next. You will see them anyway, but when that's going to happen for me, I don't know. So there you go, Jet Provost 1/72 scale Airfix, or Hunting Percival Jet Provost T3 T4. Really happy with that. So there you go.